Good morning. It's a gorgeous morning here where I am at, and I am excited to start this vlog. I'm gonna read Northanger Abbey by Jane Austen in this one. Thank you for everyone who voted on the poll that I posted. I asked you to help me pick a book for this vlog, and this one got, I think, one extra vote. So it won by one vote. So there were two contenders, Northanger Abbey, and then there was Mill on the Floss by George Eliot. When I posted the poll, I kind of had an inkling that this will get most votes, but I was really surprised that Mill on the Floss also got a lot of votes. So I need to read that one soon as well. But well, in this one we are reading Northanger Abbey by Jane Austen. So I'm already a couple of chapters in, and I had forgotten that feeling of reading a Jane Austen book for the first time, like a story for the first time that's written by her. She has a very peculiar style. Everyone knows it. Everyone loves her. Anyway, I am excited to dive into this. I will talk more about this later, probably in the afternoon or sometime later. I have to rush now because I have to get to work. I'm trying to get a bit early because I left my tea mug. It's like a ceramic travel mug that I spent hours looking for on the internet before I bought it. And then on Friday, I left it in my office. I usually bring it back. Nobody leaves anything in the office unless they lock it. I did not. So I hope the mug is there and it did not get like displaced, put somewhere during the weekend cleaning. But yeah, so I'm trying to get there early so I can go look for my tea mug. Tea mugs are precious. Anyway, so I'm going to read this and I'm going to continue reading Las Casas by the ocean. Things have gotten so interesting in that one. Again, I'll talk more about that later. Anyway, I'm going to read a couple of more chapters of Northanger Abbey while commuting. So yeah, I'll check back with you later, talk more about this book, what it is about, where it is set. Very interesting. Anyway, yeah, see you later. Hello, we're going to talk about Northanger Abbey by Jane Austen. This is a vintage classics, and I got this when I visited the Jane Austen Center in Bath. This book is set in Bath. Bath, if you don't know, is a city in Somerset, southern part of England. It's an ancient city. There are still Roman baths there. Actually, actual Roman baths. Now, I might be wrong. I think those baths are built around natural springs, and those springs have healing properties, like, you know, lots of minerals and stuff. Good for health. So a lot of people since centuries, they from all over England used to travel to Bath to soak in that healing water. Anyway, that's what the city is built around, but it is an absolutely stunning city. All the buildings, most of the buildings there are built with this honey colored sandstone. I don't know, it might be another type of stone, but it's honey colored and it's absolutely stunning. One of the most popular buildings, and you might have seen this on television, in one of the Jane Austen series or like movies. It's the Crescent. It's the Crescent. Absolutely stunning. Anyway, this novel is set there in Bath, and Jane Austen lived in Bath with her family for a few years, and when she lived in Bath, she was the least productive as an author. Now, this is something that the tour guide told me, so I don't know how much truth there is to it. There are a lot of theories for why Jane Austen wasn't as productive when she was living in Bath, and one of the reasons was that her family was in crisis, and so she was devastated. She was just not in that headspace to write. Second reason was that she was so distracted by the Bath society. It was fashionable. It was a very lively, active society. She was distracted by this. She was distracted by the beauty of Bath, and that therefore she was least productive. Another reason was that she moved to Bath. Before moving to Bath, she had always lived in one place, and she was devastated to leave that place where she had grown up, where she knew everyone, and then moved to this new place, which was quite far away from her place of birth that I believe it's Steventon, but I might be wrong, so don't quote me. I bought this one when I visited the Jane Austen Center because this one, I don't own any Jane Austen novels. Although I've read 3, I don't own even one. I bought this because this one is set in Bath, and it is said to be like a satire of Gothic novels. So what does a Gothic novel have? It has a heroine. So we have our heroine. Our heroine in this one, our main protagonist, is Catherine Morland. Catherine Morland is one of 10 children. Now, she's our heroine, so something has to happen, right? Jane Austen says that when a young lady is to be a heroine, something must and will happen to throw a hero in her way, right? So something needs to happen, but nothing is happening in the place where Catherine lives. That is in a village named Fullerton in Wiltshire. So if adventures will not befall a young lady in her own village, she must seek them abroad. And so Catherine sets out with Mr. and Mrs. Allen, are just like family friends. She sets off with Mr. and Mrs. Allen to Bath. And so Mrs. Allen introduces her to the Bath Society. Now the funny thing is that Mrs. Allen takes Catherine to these balls and to these like parties, right? And the first time that Mrs. Allen and Catherine go out, they dress up in these beautiful gowns. Mrs. Allen is all about her gowns. And Catherine also dresses up, very excited to go into the Bath Society, meet new people, make friends, meet eligible bachelors. Unfortunately, none of the people that Mrs. Allen knows are at the party. So all Catherine and Mrs. Allen do is sit in a little corner, observe everyone, wishing that they knew at least someone in Bath. So Catherine is bored. She's disappointed, but she is our heroine. So something must happen to our heroine, right? At one of these gatherings, she meets a clergyman named Mr. Tilney, and Mr. Tilney is able to hold a firm conversation with Catherine, like a good conversation. Is he our hero? We don't know. Catherine thinks he is the hero. He seems interesting. Mr. Allen approves of him because of his profession. We'll see what happens. So, after that first meeting, Mr. Tilney promises Catherine that they will see each other again. But Catherine doesn't see him again. However, Catherine makes a new friend, and the friend's name is Isabella. And they both spend time together, go to theater. That's good. Catherine has a really good friend now. Jane Austen says, friendship is certainly the finest balm for the pangs of disappointed love. Yes, it certainly is. Anyway, what is a heroine supposed to do when she's disappointed in love, right? When Mr. Tilney is nowhere to be found, he is nowhere to be seen. Maybe he has left Bath altogether. That's what Catherine thinks. But wow, she is not gonna wallow, right? What she is doing is she's spending time with her new friend, Isabella. This is so fun. Catherine and Isabella are reading novels, and Jane Austen very passionately defends Catherine for reading novels. And some of this applies even today. There are so many people who scoff at people who read fiction and novels. This especially happens to women or just people in general who read romance, right? Which is considered to be like the lowest of the lowest of fiction. I don't know why, but the world of literature is full of snobs. What can I say? Anyway, but Jane Austen seems like she had a fair taste of this snobbery. Is that a term? Or snobbishness? Snobbery. I think snobbery sounds more like it might be a word than snobbishness. I'm gonna look this up when I'm editing this. Anyway, but it seems like Jane Austen had a taste of this, and she very passionately talks about it. And now she is talking to all the authors who write about heroines who read novels or write fiction. She's like, let us not desert one another. We are an injured body. Although our productions have afforded more extensive and unaffected pleasure than those of any other literary corporation in the world, no species of composition has been so much decried. From pride, ignorance, or fashion, our foes are almost as many as our readers. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Jane Austen must have actually written this from her own experience. Funny she wrote that in this book, because when she sent this manuscript to a publisher, the publisher actually kept the manuscript, never really published it, bought the copyrights for it, but did not ever publish it. This book was published posthumously after the death of Jane Austen, which is the saddest thing to me. I wonder if that would have happened if this book was written by a man. And maybe that's one of the reasons why George Eliot wrote under the name of George Eliot. Anyway, the next chapter, chapter 6, I just read a little bit, and it's like the most relatable part. Like, if you are a passionate reader and you like buddy read, or you like read a book and then ask your friend to read the book that you love and then you talk about it, that is what happens between Isabella and Catherine in the next part. And it's so relatable. I love Jane Austen's writing. There's no doubt she was an absolute genius when it came to writing these like social situations. Do you have a favorite Jane Austen novel? My favorite is Emma, and I read it twice. I absolutely love that one. I read it the first time when I was a teenager, and then I loved it so much. I made one of my best friends at the time read it. I was like, you have to read this. Sense and Sensibility is my least favorite of the three that I have already read. This is the fourth one. I've actually read Fanny's book too. Like, what was that? I don't recall the name of the book. Mansfield Park. I read that one after I read Emma, and I was bored. I could not believe it was written by the same author, and that these are like the thoughts of a teenager. I wonder if I read it now, my thoughts might be very different. But back then, I just could not. So I don't even recall whether I finished Mansfield Park or not, but I do recall like certain things from there. Just the most boring protagonist is what I thought at the time, but I will definitely reread that one at some point in my life, but I don't have the desire to pick it up. All right, I will talk to you guys about Las Casas by the Ocean tomorrow or the day after. Yeah. Hello there, this is many days later, but I have made significant progress in Las Casas by the Ocean. I don't think I've shown this one at the book cover in this vlog. So this is the book that I am reading along with Northanger Abbey, and this one is by Silver A Garcia. This was kindly sent to me by the author. Thank you very much. I am enjoying this book. I am at 82% and the book is getting so interesting now. If you haven't watched my previous vlog, let me tell you a little bit about Las Casas by the Ocean. So this is a Mexican historical fiction. It's set in the colonial times, and I wish I knew which century exactly. Maybe it was mentioned to us at the start of the book, but I don't recall. I apologize. It's set in colonial Mexico, and we follow Maria, whose father is an aristocrat. He owns a sugarcane plantation. He overlooks this town, which goes by the name of Las Casas by the Ocean. Yeah, Maria is very sheltered. Her father is involved in some secret conspiracy or something. Something's going on, don't exactly know what. But yeah, Maria is very sheltered, very protected. Her mother passed away when she was very young, so she doesn't remember a lot about her mother. So she has this curiosity to know more about her mother, but her father is still grieving the loss of his wife and doesn't really want to talk about Maria's mother. Anyway, so as I am at 82%, secrets are coming out. I'm learning more about it, but there's also a kind of like caste system based on the color of the skin. So the Iberians are white-skinned people, right, born in Iberia. And then there are people who have Iberian parents, but they're born in this new land, Mexico. And then there are people who are mixed and with like the indigenous, like one parent indigenous and one of Iberian descent. And then you have on the lowest like hierarchy of on the lowest rung, you have the slaves. And Maria is learning more secrets about her family. Anyway, Maria, who has never been out of Las Casas by the Ocean, goes to the city, and last time, if you watched my vlog, you know that Maria was going to go to the city, and I was hoping she would either meet the bandit or the prince. Well, surprise, surprise, something of that sort happens. Anyways, this is getting so exciting. There's also like kind of like a love triangle situation, but I might be wrong, so I don't know what's gonna happen about that. But I think Maria's gonna have her fairy tale ending. I don't know how she's gonna get there, but we'll see. I'm very excited for Maria. I'm so interested in this story. There's also like some fantastical elements. There's like a lizard man. There's a woman who lives under the sea, and kind of reminded me of the song Under the Sea. Under the sea. Anyway, it's a very charming story, beautiful. I'm enjoying it so far. I'm at 82%, so very excited and eager to know what happens next. All right, let's talk about Northanger Abbey by Jane Austen. This I am almost halfway through, but so much has happened. I think last time I talked about how Catherine makes a friend, Isabella, and she met this guy named Mr. Tilney, a clergyman, and she likes him, and he just never shows up. Anyway, Catherine has been to the pump room multiple times, and I finally googled what the pump room is. So a pump room is a place next to the Roman baths in the Bath City, and it was popular and still is. It has changed now, and I don't know a lot about it. Back then, it was like the social hub of the city. That's where people used to go to socialize, right? To socialize and dance. So anyway, and there were upper rooms. I don't know what that is. But again, these are all the places where people used to go to socialize and dance, right? So Catherine, in the hopes of running into Mr. Tilney again, visits the pump room multiple times, but she has no luck, and she assumes that Mr. Tilney has left, but she's kind of disappointed in love. But she has her friend Isabella. Now Isabella has a brother named John Thorpe. This John Thorpe is a character. I think he likes Catherine. I'm pretty sure he does, and he tries to impress her, but he's one of those guys who's just keeps droning on about things that interest him and do not interest Catherine at all. Poor Catherine, he drones on about the carriage that he has bought. He drones on about the horses and the estate. Catherine doesn't care about that at all. And he's also not a very nice person. He lies to her. Anyway, yeah, liar. We don't like John Thorpe. But John also happens to be her brother's dear friend. So she cannot exactly be rude to John, but at the time she does not like him, and neither do I. Finally, she meets Mr. Tilney and his sister. Oh my goodness, I think I like Mr. Tilney too. And I love how Jane Austen has written this story, because I think she had perfected this art of creating a very interesting love story, right? What better way to write a gothic novel or like a satire with a protagonist whose love interest doesn't often make an appearance, right? You kind of like crave for them to be together. There's this yearning. Another thing that I found really interesting was how Catherine and Isabella, they discuss about Udolpho. This was like a book written by I think Anne Radcliffe. It's a horror gothic novel, and they're discussing about, oh, is it going to be more horrid? And it's so funny to follow their conversation. Oh yeah, there's also this part in the book where John Thorpe comes up with this idea of visiting Bristol. There's like a castle near Bristol, and they make up a plan to go to this castle. And Catherine is really heartbroken because she was supposed to go on a walk with Mr. Tilney and his sister, but it rained. It rained. English weather. Of course it rained. It rained on her plans. And so Mr. Tilney doesn't show up. But who shows up? John Thorpe shows up, and he's like, Miss Morland, we are gonna go to this castle. And Catherine has just read Udolpho. She is so curious to see this castle. that she's like, okay, yeah, all right, I'll go. She reluctantly agrees to go when John Thorpe lies to her that he saw Mr. Tilney just head elsewhere. And I was so angry that he lied. We don't like John Thorpe, okay? We don't like him. We like Mr. Tilney. I wonder what's gonna happen next, because everything is going fine now and we are not even halfway through. So what are the next troubles gonna be? Yeah, so I'm going to continue reading this. I am very happy that I made progress on Las Casas by the Ocean. I'm going to read this too. But yeah, I'm going to continue reading and I will update you soon. Hello, another day here. I finished Las Casas by the Ocean. I'll say like the second half of the book really picked up. It got really fast-paced towards the end. I'll say it was a delightful, charming story. I don't know what genre I will put this book into, but I guess I would describe it as a fantasy with historical setting. I've already said that it is set in colonial Mexico. I love the protagonist. There's a lot of heart and soul in this story. I enjoyed it. What I didn't realize was that it is part of a series. So I don't know if it's going to be a duology or a trilogy. It doesn't say, but the story continues in the next book. So I guess the romance did feel a little bit incomplete, but it also makes me curious. I want to see these people who are in love together. So I guess we'll just have to wait for the next book. But yeah, I did enjoy this one. A delightful book. All right, let's move on to Northanger Abbey by Jane Austen. Now, this one has really surprised me. When I picked this book up, I thought it was going to be a freaking gloomy, sad book. I always thought this was a gothic book, and for some reason, it is not people's favorite. And so I just kind of formed this opinion without even reading it that it's going to be a boring book, but I'm so pleasantly surprised, and I think this is like such a fun read. That's what I was thinking when I was reading in the morning. I'm very near the end of the story, so the last 50 pages remaining or less, but I'm very close to the ending, and oh my goodness, I have fallen in love with this protagonist. If you read gothic fiction, if you are absolutely into the horror and the horror nature of gothic fiction, that's what Catherine loves. That's what the protagonist loves, and she absolutely is in love with everything gothic, right? That's what she has read. So when she goes to Northanger Abbey, and of course, there's a Northanger Abbey, right? And this is going to be the Gothic structure. That's what Catherine thinks. Northanger Abbey is where Mr. Tilney lives, or rather, it's his family's estate. So Catherine is invited to stay at Northanger Abbey, and she is looking forward to this place because Northanger Abbey was an abbey that was converted into a family estate during the Reformation period. Don't ask me about English history, but so she expects this really gothic sort of place, you know, old, everything that's old, and she is surprised. She's surprised when she gets there, and oh my goodness, now obviously this video contains spoilers. I will put that at the beginning of the video. I am sorry, I think I did not mention that in my introduction, but anyway, what I'm getting at is how she imagines the place is going to be, and then she's surprised to find that the place is filled with new furniture and has very little character remaining from the past, right? And she is sorely disappointed. And then the whole scene with the wardrobe that she finds, and then she finds some sort of manuscript, and it turns out to be laundry bill, and that was hilarious. And how she suspects that Mr. Tilney, the father, right, of the family, must have killed the wife. I'm at the part where Mr. Tilney comes across Catherine when Catherine walks out of his mother's rooms, and Catherine was in the rooms alone inspecting, right? She was trying to find clues that would indicate that Mr. Tilney, the father was responsible for the mother's death. So she has these like romantic gothic ideas in her head, right? Where there's a villain, there's this old house, it has to be a villain, and she's thinking of a woman who hasn't died and she is locked away somewhere, and all these conspiracies, and it is such fun. But Catherine is really a very innocent, sheltered girl from the country, and she is just marvelous. I love her character. I love her so much, and I will say that I did not expect to have so much fun reading this book. Again, I think this is going to be like my second favorite. My top's always going to remain Emma, because I have such fond memories of reading Emma for the very first time. Really do need to finish this now because I want to know how this ends. Although it's very easy to predict what's going to happen. Oh yeah, let's talk about Isabella. Her friend Isabella is such a flirt. Isabella is, if she was my friend, I would never talk to her again. No, miss, I'm not going to talk to you ever again. Mr. Tilney. There's something about the men, the hero in Jane Austen's novels. They're all gentlemen, aren't they? In Emma, I loved Mr. Knightley. In Sense and Sensibility, I honestly don't remember anything about the men in that book. I just recall the sisters, and I think it's a book about sisters. And then there was this Pride and Prejudice in Mr. Darcy. I don't even want to say anything about Mr. Darcy because he's just an iconic character, right? I don't know by the end of this who will be like my favorite gentleman from Jane Austen novels. I still need to read, or rather finish, reread Mansfield Park. And after that, I think another one that I haven't read is Persuasion. So Persuasion, I don't know. I've heard that she is a more level-headed protagonist. The one in Persuasion, I don't even know her name, but yeah, that's one more novel that I need to read by Jane Austen. Hello, so I have finished reading Northanger Abbey by Jane Austen, and I must say I am pleasantly surprised by this. I did not think there would be so much that would change and happen in the last few chapters. Also, I take back, I don't like Mr. Tilney at all. In the second to the last chapter, Jane Austen says that the only reason he likes or he feels any attachment to Catherine is because of gratitude, and also because she likes him, because she is pursuing him, and that really upset me. I am like, Catherine, you deserve so much better. You deserve someone who would love you just the same as you love that person. So Mr. Tilney has not beaten Mr. Knightley. Mr. Knightley is still my top Jane Austen hero. I am not even counting Mr. Darcy because I don't know. I think he's too iconic to even be on my list. Just a few paragraphs later, Jane Austen says that he had now offered her his hand. And I was like, offered her his hand? Does it mean the same thing as it means now that he has offered his hand to her in marriage? Which was very confusing to me because he obviously only likes her. He's not in love with her per se, right? And yeah, and now he has offered to marry her. No, Mr. Tilney. No. Anyway, what a journey it was from Bath to Northanger Abbey to Fullerton. One thing that Jane Austen did really well was describe the relationships and people. She was really good at it, and that you can see that in this one. I still feel this is like a weaker story as to her other stories. What I was craving in this book was description of Bath. Like, where's the beauty of Bath? She describes the social scene of Bath beautifully, but what about the landscape? What about the architecture, which Bath is known for? What about Northanger Abbey? Like, she describes Northanger Abbey through Catherine's disappointment, her expectations, and then how it does not meet her expectations. But we don't really get like the finer details of the architecture or the furniture. Just know that it's not dated furniture. It has been newly furnished. So that's something that I really missed in it. I still gave this 4.5 stars when I finished, but as more days have gone by and I have had time to reflect, I think this is gonna be like a 4-star read for me. Still enjoyed it, but yeah, in the end, Mr. Tilney really disappointed me. And so that is all I have to say about this one. Let me know in the comments down below what you thought about Northanger Abbey. And let me know which one is your favorite Jane Austen book. And if you made it so far, thank you for coming on this journey with me. And thank you to everyone who voted for this book and the other book. I really appreciate it. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel. I'll see you next time. Till then, take care. Bye.